Good afternoon and welcome to Our World Hour of Power here with Lady Pauline. And today we have two hosts. Besides myself, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard. Hi, Glenn. How are you?
I am great. How you
As
guys doing?
I'm good. And we have Mr. Alvin Hartley from TMI as my co host, my main man.
I'll throw the Barry White on you. How you doing, Pauline?
Right, Alvin. Good. Today we have a special guest. His name is George Honora. He's running for city councilman here in Queens. Hi, George. Welcome to our world.
Hello, thank you, Lady Pauline.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you on. It's Black History Month. I love what you're doing, running for office. I know you love politics. Please tell me what is your main mission in running for city councilman?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lady Pauline. Thank you, Alvin Hartley, and then thank you, Glenn. It's quite an exciting moment. Happy Black History Month for all of us.
Yes.
Um, for me, as an immigrant from Nigeria, I have always embodied the passion for community service. I grew up as a member of the Boy Scouts in Nigeria when I was the age of 13. And since then, I've learned how to serve, how to give back. And that has followed me coming to the United States. And over here, the same passion has continued. I've served on the community board here in Queens. I've also served as a neighborhood advisory board, and finally as a liaison to city council. So the work that's done in the city council is not exactly new to me. I have been there, done that, assisted a very fine council member in the work that she did, and so that's what I tend to bring to the work. And as we try to navigate this pandemic, I hope that my voice can add to the chorus of other voices so that we can help solve some of the problems that we have, such as addressing issues of small business, empowering them, teaching people, folks how to learn how to grow their business and to live a good life. And like I said, as an immigrant from Nigeria, so many immigrants live in the area that I intend to serve, which is the most ethnically diverse community in the United States. Uh, the area, if you want to know, consists of Jackson Heights, East Elmhurst, LeFrak City, LaGuardia Airport, and Corona. So that whole area is considered the most diverse community in the United States, ethnically diverse. So
Oh,
I intend to bring my vision of public service, community activism, and passion to help people that live in those areas. And that's why I have volunteered my service to serve the community. I'm not a politician. I'm just an ordinary person trying to help create change.
all right. I like that, George Honora.
George said he
Thank
ain't a
you.
politician. Oh, oh, wait till you get in the game.
Just an ordinary guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Glenn.
George, um, I know you spoke about small businesses. What are some of your intentions in terms of small businesses have been hit very hard in this pandemic? What do you see that city council, you as a city council member, could do to support the small businesses out there?
Thank you for that question, Glenn. There are so many things we can do to help the small businesses grow, having suffered tremendously under this pandemic. Uh, as you know, President Biden had spoken about how he wants to help businesses, our community and businesses to grow back better. All right. So what I plan to do with my colleague, if I'm lucky to be elected into the city council in the 21st district, is to add to the chorus of voices because we need to have inject funding into small businesses, be able to provide them the kind of loan that either will have some low interest rates with options for forgivable reasons. We can forgive some of those loans to enable them to start off, to be able to grow. And we also need to cut some of the red tapes that elected government put in place that stifle small businesses. We need to teach folks in the community how to grow their business, the in and out. And I tend to mobilize support. And I know Ms. Hartley, of course, he's very savvy, a savvy businessman, and to get, people like him and others to come into the community to create some kind of empowerment opportunity that will enable small businesses to come and listen and learn the nuts and bolts of how their business can run effectively and efficiently, getting some of the supports they can get from government, and then trying to set up the infrastructure for growth. And this is what we have to do for us to grow back and to move, to pivot from this pandemic that has impacted our community so adversely, especially those people that own small businesses.
Okay. Sounds
I
good,
guess that was
George.
my segue because he called my name out there.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, George, thank you for that acknowledgement. But you and I've talked, and you're very familiar with JFK building out a terminal, and also LaGuardia. Although it's the 21st district, still your area, there are minority businesses that can qualify. What do you see the challenge that these MWBE companies are having qualifying for these contracts? We're talking billions of dollars. How are you going to get their feet wet? And those that already have their feet wet, meaning they're already certified, they're a minority-owned company. How do you help them meet the challenge so they can get a bigger piece of that pie? Just dealing with those two areas, because that's a lot of money out there.
Wow, yeah, that's something that is really dear to my heart, because as I look, I see a lot of redevelopment going on with JFK Airport, and even down by Sutton Boulevard, where the A train, sets off. And then coming to LaGuardia, the district that I intend to represent, a lot of things are being done at LaGuardia Airport. A lot of infrastructural changes have been taking place. Businesses are going on. But what happens is that the local folks, especially people that are from Queens, have not really benefited from what is going on there. And that is unfair. So what I intend to do is to kind of organize a platform whereby these folks can come together and embed themselves under bigger organization, or to form a bigger conglomerate to be able to bid for some of the contracts and works that will come out of those what is infrastructural developments. So unfortunately, some of the impediments that happens is that small companies have not had the track records, and so they are shut out from such competitions. And I will strongly advocate for these groups coming together or finding a way. In fact, I will try to provide the resources necessary for that to happen, so that when they come, they can align themselves with bigger companies, so that they can get to share in that pie, like you just said. So it's not something they can do on their own. It will take coming together to become a bigger entity. And then entrepreneurs such as yourself and others can also help to galvanize the effort that we need to get these folks to understand what it takes to be competitive, to be relevant in such an environment, because we're talking about billions of dollars. And if you're Joe Schmo, you're not gonna play a big role in such a thing. So I will lend my voice, and I know that something has to be done.
George, I want to find out something. A lot of the small businesses are not even into there's a handbook for the different bids within Queens. You know, the names, the addresses, and so forth, and how they can be contacted. And a lot of the small businesses, I should say, maybe mom and pop stores and people that are operating through their home and stuff like that, they're not even in those books to be considered or to be talked about. Are you aware of that?
I'm very much aware. It's quite unfortunate, and that's why I hope that some of the bids that we have in Queens, I know we have the Soften bid and Jamaica bids and etc. etc. Those are organs that can help to get those small businesses added to some kind of record, some kind of compiled book whereby people can look up their names so that you can refer. I mean, the small businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, Queens Chamber of Commerce is a leading organ in Queens in terms of businesses. Those organizations can play a role in that regard so that those small businesses can have their voices heard, they can be looked up and found easily. And in these days, in this age of technology, I feel we can do a better job because you can Google the name of such businesses to find out where they are, who they belong to, and information, their number, and then you can call them, email them, or whatever you want to do. So that is something that is very easy, but something that can be done. And I think that the bids that we have already, existing bids, can play a role in that area.
What are you thinking, Glenn? Because I know
Well,
you're one of the
one of the
bids.
things one of the things that certainly would help from City Council is if we had some additional monies, because quite frankly, we could probably use high school students to do some of those directory type options. Um, I think one of the important things at this point in time is organizing online presence. And a lot of the small businesses don't have something as basic as their hours of operation, contact, even an email to send them information, and so they don't have a landing page. And I think those are the kinds of things that would certainly help support the small businesses, and having them online presence. Back to you,
Mhm.
Lady Pauline.
Well, as we know that there's small businesses and then there's small businesses, and I'm talking about the real small businesses. Like, there's a lot of people that like. There's a lady I know. I know she wouldn't mind me mentioning her. Mercedes. She operates sort of like a catering business with balloons and flowers, and sometimes she sells, perfume and stuff like that. So it's a small business. It's really small. And we have spoken to her in the past, and she has said that her business is not recognized. It's not in a book. It's not, anywhere that anybody can, see. She has to keep giving out her business cards or her brochures in order to be recognized. So there's I've interviewed a lot of very small businesses, such as that. People that have like food carts and stuff like that, they're not in a major place where they could be seen, but they are a business.
Mhm. Yeah, that is why I think belonging to the Chamber of Commerces and then joining the bids can be of value to them. So what I will do, hopefully I will be a member of the small business or something at the city council if I'm lucky to be elected, to ensure that some of these innovative ways of scaling up business takes place So for some of them, it's a question of not knowing. They need someone to direct them. They need someone to encourage them. They need someone to empower them, because having a business and the business is staying stagnant is not how to run a business. You have to really come out and then pay your taxes, register, and so on, and get people that know how to run businesses, put you through how your business should be run. I think such kind of things can be beneficial to those that have small businesses in Queens.
Let me
Do you
jump in
agree,
here.
Albert? All right.
Yeah, let me jump in here for a second. For the people that are listening, they keep on saying, well, they're only talking about small business. But this is what's really happening. We're not even talking about all just brick and mortar. For the viewers out there, they have to understand that jobs are not coming back the way they used to be. When we were growing up, we can find a full-time job during the week, a part-time job with the full-time job during the week. Then we found a part-time job on the weekend. So we always had the opportunity to find some type of opportunity for us to make money. Those days are gone. You have to use another way of bringing in additional income. So for the listeners out, the viewers, I should say, out there should understand, because I spoke to George about this, it's a new way of life. You have to have some type of additional funds coming in. And owning your own business, not just an EIN number, but owning your own business and structuring it to build over the next 5 to 10 years, replace that part-time job, eventually may replace your existing job, or you don't have to go out and work because you're literally running your own business. So there's a lot more elements to just trying to save the business. The local businesses hire local people. That's the impact. And that's what we're trying to get across. And I talk to you, George, and Glenn, you and I talk about this all the time. I think, we listen to a lot of politicians come on and say what they want to do, but it's getting down to the nitty gritty on, this is the impact. I have to save the small business, because if I don't save the small business, then the local people can't get employed. Then what do? Then they'll bring in a big business. Y'all know how it goes. They'll bring in one or two conglomerate, wipe out everything, hire the local people. The local businesses are done. They're smashed. Then when the major company comes in, they leave. Case in point, Glenn, but I think it's called Walgreens off of Farmers Boulevard.
Right.
They left.
Yes. Yes,
They
I
left.
did.
And that building, they got into a crazy agreement. And that for another 20 years, their monthly payments is outrageous. They can't even sublease it because the sublease is too expensive. Now you got a big old giant building sitting there doing nothing.
And who's responsible for it? Who's responsible for that building just staying there and doing nothing, being non-productive?
Whatever the deal is between the real estate, the owner, the broker, Walgreens, there were a lot of hands in that, because that type of agreement was crazy. They're paying something like $20,000, I think, in the last meeting I went to, an absorbent amount of money, and it's just sitting there. It's an eyesore. You can't tear it down. They had this crazy agreement. You can't do anything. So
that points to the vitality of the small businesses, as you just spoke to. George, I'm gonna ask you this question. I know that training of individuals, of people in the community, is going to be an important part of your the economic resurgence. What do you see around that?
Well, I mean, skill acquisition is very important, and we have LaGuardia Community College. We have your college right at your alley over there, and then we have the Queen's College. So those colleges have good business curriculums. So it's very important that in addition that those that need to brush up their skills in business areas, see what kind of courses they can take in such institutions. But otherwise, what I plan to do is also to provide avenues within the community setting whereby we can have folks come in and help educate the community who are interested in businesses. This is how you do this. This is how you run your businesses, free of charge, because some people cannot afford the cost of registering for some of these courses. You know, some of them run out $300, some of them more. So we have to make these things available as public service so that, like we've all agreed, that small business are the engine that drives our local economy. So why don't we try to invest in such so that we can empower not just the business community, but the folks that live in those communities, because together we can make things work better for all of us.
Okay.
Here's another point, and you guys know how my passion about small business. In the back, you wouldn't see that, right?
Yeah.
But here's shameless plug, right? But here's something else too. We had a staff meeting, and we for up to until I think it's March. I think it's March the 9th, I think it is. Biden has it that March the 9th. Biden has it that if you're a sole proprietor, now listen to this, even if you're an Uber driver, Uber Eats, you're doing delivery service for Target or Walmart, all of those people are 1099s. They should apply for the PPP. And they could go to tmium.com and apply. But anyway, or you could go to SBA.gov. It's right at the top. Okay? A lot of people are doing it out here, but they don't understand what they're doing. As long as they're making the money, but there's ways how you can make money and get benefits as a business. So don't lose out on those opportunities. Things like that is so important. And George, I agree with you. Education is so important. But let's be honest. There's another challenge, Glenn, and I think you may agree with me, is really getting folks to stop being afraid to ask for help.
True.
Big thing. None of us are perfect. All of us are not millionaires in the beginning. A great leader learns to listen. And you have great people out here that are running business, but if they are willing to ask for help, then that's where someone should be there to help them. And from what I understand, George, you're indicating that coming in as a counselor, you're looking at all of those institutions because you have tons of business solution nonprofit organizations around town. From what I hear you're saying is to help them, to push them to push harder to get these people to come in, because that's their new part-time job. Their business is their new part-time job, family job. Think about it. A family can start a business together. So I think driving that home, instead of people running around, got to find a job, and they don't find a job, take your skills. There's so much that you can do out here, but they have to be willing to ask. Back to you, Pauline. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, speaking of bills, we're about to take a commercial break right now to pay those bills. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is attorney Stephen G. James. We've been practicing law at this law firm for over 30 years. I'm a former assistant prosecutor in Kings County and currently a defense attorney to serve you better. We work harder to serve you better. So just call us for the lawyers you can trust. 646-905-9000. 646-905-7001. We're located on Sutphin Boulevard, right near Hillside here in Jamaica, Queens, New York, for over 30 years serving the community. The law firm of Stephen G. James. Thank you.
We'll be right back. But first, are you a small business owner looking for solutions? TMI and Partners is a business solution company offering operational, branding, and financial solution. For only $9.99 a month, your company will be assigned a personal business advisor. Well, that's right, only $9.99 per month, no contract, and you're on your way. Call TMI at 347-234-5304. That's 347-234-5304. Or visit their website at tmium.com. Tomorrow, the world will know your business. Is that it, guys? Hello? Did I do good?
You did great. You did wonderful.
Wow. That is something. Wow.
I will.
That was none of my younger days.
No, that was done just last year, so I guess that was.
Wow.
I'm gonna talk about it.
What the Corona
So-
did to me, Lord have mercy.
So, Alvin, if I call on you to come this way and help us teach folks how to run their businesses, I hope you're gonna oblige.
Oh, that's what I do for a living. But, I'll be more than glad to come out to lecture and help guide people, individuals, as well as family. I think in the Black and Hispanic community, it's not kitchen table talk to talk about business. We talk about bills. We talk about getting a job. We talk about all of our problems, but we never talk about, okay, I'm trying to close this deal. I'm trying to get this contract. In my house, it's crazy. My wife and I, we get up about 5, 6 o'clock. My wife's office is upstairs. My office is downstairs. And we meet at the cafeteria, which is known as the kitchen. Because traffic is very heavy from the basement. You go past there, and you're coming down those stairs, and then the dog is protesting. I want my snack. I want my snack. So we have to deal with a lot of these things. But we meet in our kitchen, and we literally stand there. What you got going on? I got this going on. And we got cell phones to our ears. We got computers all over the place. Our grandkids are talking about we got to get our Instagram up so we can start making some money. My daughter is on the phone yelling and screaming, I gotta go because I gotta close this contract, and we love each other, but we know if we don't make no money, we don't eat.
That's true. That's true.
We don't eat.
I would like to change gears right now and talk about the senior citizens. Okay, we're in a pandemic right now, and the information that's coming through, the way we are doing business, it has changed. Where everything is the internet. We're doing Zoom, we're doing Skype, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. I wanted to find out how are the senior citizens being affected. Why I bring that up, George, is because I've been sick recently, and my doctor told me not to come to the hospital, don't come to the clinic, that they was going to do a face-to-face, And I said, okay, fine. But, what happens to people that don't understand the technology? That's number one. Or don't have the technology. What do you feel can be implemented? Should something be implemented? I know the welfare department has given out cell phones to people that's on food stamps and so forth and so forth. But that's one thing. But how to operate this type of equipment so that you can get support from whether it's the health, politicians, schools. We need a way to navigate for the elderly. Have you ever considered anything like that you would like to develop, George?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I believe that there are several ways we can help the seniors. I mean, these people, senior folks, have done their best. What they need to do is to retire well, live a happier life. And I have what I call enhanced services that I plan to introduce. And what that embodies means what stuff we can provide to seniors, whether they are the recreational centers where they go to play cards, socialize with their peers, and so on and so forth. But another thing is to kind of get some young folks, I call it young Queens people, raising up Queens to that understand technology, to teach technology to seniors and even middle schoolers, because they need a little bit of assistance because they are challenged. They didn't grow up in the age of technology. So we can get some young folks that will get credit from what they will do by going to seniors and actually teaching them how to operate phones and do these little technological things that some of us are challenged with. So that's one. Another thing is, for instance, you said that you were sick, and I'm glad you are getting better. Someone could have just come and provided you with your medication, free medication delivery to seniors at their residencies free of charge, so that it kind of reduces the kind of pressure that you would have felt going to the pharmacy to pick up your medication. So these are part of what I call enhanced services that I plan to provide for our seniors to make their life easier and better so that they can feel happier and live honorably.
Speaking about services, I lived in LeFrak City for about 35 years, and I still, want to work with that community as well as the community that I'm living in now. And, sometimes it's hard to get back over to LeFrak City for me to pick up my medications and stuff like that. And being sick for the past month, I couldn't even leave the house. I had to ask my son-in-law who lives in LeFrak City, to pick up my medicine and bring it over to me over here. So I'm a senior citizen, and a lot of times I'm having difficulties as of right now, getting from place to place or place to place, doing certain things that ordinarily, you would do, but because of the pandemic, we have to understand people are scared. People are scared to go out their house. You know, right now I feel scared to leave my house. Am I going to get sick again? And I know there's a lot of people that feel that way. And are the services there to help people such as myself and other people? And don't forget, this is a Queens we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of people that don't even speak English. As English is a second language. So there's people that I know that do not speak English, and they've lived in Queens for forever. But if it wasn't for somebody in their family, they wouldn't be able to correspond certain things that they do, and go out and get medications and go to certain places because they don't speak English. So we have those two problems that we're dealing with now because it's a pandemic. People that don't speak English, people that can't use the computer or are not computer savvy at all, or just have a little bit of knowledge of the computer. And I'm finding it, when I speak to people around my age, I find that they're really having a hard time of it, those that want to be honest about it.
I thought you were 25. So what are you talking about your age?
No, I have no shame in saying how old I am. I really don't. Because
I was going to say that
she
she doesn't look like a senior, by the way. Which she is,
I am a senior, but I don't consider myself a senior. I don't act like a senior. So you know what they say. It's always in your head.
But quite frankly, the 24th district, includes places like Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, which is the most diverse, ethnically diverse community in the whole of the United States. A lot of immigrants. It's an immigrant mecca. A lot of immigrants reside there. Some of them don't speak English, like you correctly said. just as in other parts of Queens. So bilingualism is something that is acceptable. I'm sure you've gone to some of these social service offices and you've seen forms in different languages. That's one of the ways to help mitigate the effect of all the kind of languages we have in New York City. So, but as a city council member, I will fight and advocate seriously to make sure that the representation we have is for every one of us, because we live in a city that is so multi-ethnic that we cannot forget any part of that component that make up New York City. We are one city and we have to work together and then try to solve some of the problem. And as an elected official, I want to devote my time actually making sure that some of these issues that you correctly pointed out, such as the difficulty that you have or hindrance trying to get from Jamaica to LeFrak City, where you love and lived over for a very long time, to pick up medication, can be made easier. And I wouldn't mind introducing some kind of accessor ride for such things to happen, whereby seniors can either be picked from their residence to where they will obtain their medication, or imploring the pharmacies to put it in their project to provide free services, delivery of medication to their patients or clients within a reasonable distance, if that may be helpful.
That's very good. Glenn?
Question for you, George. I know we talked about the online and technology being available to the small businesses. We have the same issue with the seniors. Um, and I know I just got off a call with the Episcopal Deanery. We had a conference call, and one of the things that they talked about was making technology available, having sessions for different aspects of the community. But since we're talking about seniors, one of the places that's been affected is the senior centers are no longer able to meet because of COVID. Is there any idea or thinking around creating Zoom sessions or Zoom or virtual meeting places so that the seniors could actually communicate with each other and possibly even play games or at least socialize?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question that you pose. Yes, definitely, because like I said, seniors are more our mothers and our fathers and our parents that have contributed so much to life. They have raised up their children and now retiring. They deserve a decent life. And unfortunately, this COVID has wreaked havoc in our communities, upended life, shattered our small businesses, and then everything. Look at the number of deaths we've had just from COVID. A couple of days ago, it was recorded over 500,000 deaths. And this is very tragic, and something that some of our families have not even been able to grieve. Everything is kind of bottled inside, and with that, a lot of mental anguish. So what we can do is, number one, we have to pray and hope that things will get better soon. But until that happens, we have to find a way to deal with some of these issues, how to get the seniors, because some of them are in their house, like you correctly pointed out, Pauline, afraid to go out. Even non-seniors are afraid to go out. They are looking out their windows, afraid that if they go out, they will get sick. That's a lot of mental anguish to deal with.
It is.
So one way we can do that is can have what can be called a telephonic conference or therapy, to help kind of empower them and tell them everything will be all right. What do you need? And if they need help with their medication, someone can actually bring this medication to them safely without them having to risk going out to contract COVID or get sick, etc., etc. So our government has enough resources to invest in communities to help seniors who have led a very productive life and now need to have their time of retirement and happiness, but COVID has decimated their life. So we have to really think seriously. And if I'm lucky to be elected into the city council, I intend to fight very hard for seniors to get their very due, to get the kind of life of respect that they deserve, having contributed to their communities, growing up and then living a decent life. So we have to do something. And our churches and faith-based organization also can be helpful. If someone belongs to a church or religious organization, why not the pastor says, oh, why don't you visit Mrs. A or B to see how they are doing, or kind of give them a call over the phone to say, how are you doing? Offer word of encouragement and what do you need? If they need food, we have food pantries all over Queens. We have all kinds of mechanisms of support to help, address some of the needs that these folks have. So, but like I said, as a city council member, I will fight very hard to make sure that seniors get their dues. I will help provide enhanced services, whether it's the young ones going to them to teach them technology or to provide assistance with how their medication or whatever that's needed. That is very dear and to my heart, and I intend to fulfill that if I'm lucky to be elected into office.
Okay, I like that.
George, you don't mind, Glenn, do you?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. George, Pauline asked about the seniors, but it seems to wrap around to no. It was a good, but it still wraps around to our young people too, and the community. The whole community isn't getting the technology. Okay, so we have high schools and elementary children that can't even get to the technology or to get on with their class. So, tying all that together, how do you tie, or what programs what existing programs that you may know of that will allow you to say, listen, these programs, we need to put more pressure on these programs, or maybe we need to fund these programs. Maybe we need to do a better outreach with these programs. It's because the average, the small community household, they don't have a laptop, they don't have a tablet, or they can't get access to Wi-Fi, or the Wi-Fi is the worst in the world. Hey, here you go, Glenn, watch. You want Wi-Fi, you go buy and park your car at McDonald's so you can get access. Hey, I'm telling you, bro. Or you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you drive by the nearest place and sit in your car or sitting on the corner so you get access to Wi-Fi. So that's kind of
used to go to Starbucks.
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
Why is it that you could go in the parking lot of a fast food chain and tap into their Wi-Fi, but yet we don't have Wi-Fi on the corner so that people in that neighborhood, if anything, they get close enough to the window so they can tap into that Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yes.
That helps a lot.
That is very important that we connect. We stay connected wherever we are, even underground. I guess you can connect even in the subways. Such service could be made available to people, even if at a very small fee. to charge your phone, to connect to the internet. I believe that is another area that we can also make sure that it's available for everyone, because when you're on the go, you need to do something that is urgent and you don't have Wi-Fi and things like that, or you have to look for a business center that is probably miles away. It's a big challenge for most of us, and it's something
George,
that
I'm sorry, George raised a good point. He said, you could actually get Wi-Fi in the subway now.
yeah.
Not only that, you can plug your phone in the bus to get it charged.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it. Why is it every place that's public you could get access to Wi-Fi, but our communities we can't get access to that technology?
Well, what happens if you
Yeah,
can't pay your phone bill?
yeah.
You won't be able to get on the bus or the train. I mean, I hate to mention all these things, but I mean,
Yeah,
it has gone that way.
but
Yeah.
but some of the cell phones, if I ain't pay my bill, but let me go to McDonald's or someplace I can tap into the Wi-Fi to make the phone call. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
I
it
think
seems
yeah, our minority communities have not, there's this disparity in wealth, of course. We know that. And minority communities have been affected by everything. Pandemic, were the most, we were heavily impacted. Economically, we are devastated. We're always constantly struggling to make it. So the thing is, from the business aspect, I know small businesses were saying, okay, we have to invest in them so that they are the engine that grow our economy. But government also have a duty to do to invest in our communities so that things such as the Wi-Fi connectivity that you just mentioned can be available to folks, so that if they have something important to do, they can connect and do take care of some of those things. Some of them, their phones are disconnected. They don't have a way to even call their social service and etc. etc. So this inequality in communities of color uh, must be addressed. We have been looking the other way, and all animals are equal, but they're not equal. We have to address the disparity in communities of color, as well as Black and brown communities.
Yes, you brought up a great point about infrastructure, and infrastructure is certainly one of the things that our community needs to have available. I'm going to bring up another hot button: rents. People are about to, there's a moratorium on the rents right now. People are not getting evicted. At some point in time in the future, that moratorium is going to come off, and they're going to be a real situation for homelessness, given that people haven't gotten the jobs. So if we don't do a good job in getting the jobs, people back employed, we're going to have massive homelessness at some point in time. What do you see? What do you foresee from a city council standpoint that where the direction should go around that situation?
Well, the city council must first of all work in concert with the mayor to make sure that people are not left out in the cold, or because already in New York City we have a tremendous percentage of people living as homeless. Some of them, granted, have mental conditions, which should be referred to treatment, but we have folks that don't sleeping on the subway, on the street, even here in the district. So we have to find a way to minimize instead of accentuating the problem, because like Glenn, you rightly pointed out, when the moratorium on rent um, given by the governor runs out, there's going to be a tsunami of evictions, because people don't have the money to pay their rent and things like that. So we have to now make sure that nobody is left out in the cold. It's winter, even if it's spring or whatever. So this thing we are trying to build back from the pandemic. So there has to be some kind of grace period to make sure that people are not suddenly pushed out, because we have, of course, very greedy landlords that are waiting to kick people out of their places. And then yet, those people you are kicking out don't have the resources to pay their rent. So we are in a fix. If you know it, we're in a fix. So something has to be done. As the city council, as an organ of government representing the city, must work in concert with the mayor to make sure that such thing does not happen in New York City. And Queens, certainly, as one of the boroughs in Queens, will also, through the borough president office, see what can be done to mitigate that.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a very sensitive point about that. From the Black and Hispanic point of view, when the moratorium is lifted, they're coming after Black and Hispanics. They're coming after us like wildfire. They want our homes. They want us out of the business. They want us out of the apartment. They are going to come after us. But let's look at the reality of this. A bomb, meaning the virus, was dropped on the country. So the landlord too lost money. But the landlord's supposed to be also be negotiating with the mortgage company, okay, and trying to get money so that it's a rippling effect. Because what's so bad about it, don't think that landlords won't kick you out and still go and get and work out some type of deal with the government, the city, whatnot, to get money and still put pressure on you to get money on the other side. Everybody got affected by this. And it has to be an even playing field. Because I'm telling you, they're coming after everybody. And those people who owe money to, like I said before, to a landlord or the mortgage company, whatever else have you, everybody owes money. So I think it gets to a point where you have to negotiate. I advise our clients, we said you're supposed to immediately get your lawyer and start writing letters to your landlord. Let's start with the landlord, stating what you're able to pay. Can you have some type of terms and get the dialogue going? If the landlord is refusing to talk to you, keep that dialogue going, because eventually you're going to go to court. And if you show a paper trail that here's what we were offering, this is what we were going to do, we mailed it, we did what else have you, and they took it, but they still wouldn't make an arrangement because the goal was to get rid of us. So if you take it to the consumer level, it's the same thing, Pauline.
Yeah, well, you know something, George? I know, LeFrak City has no mercy, for whether it's a pandemic or whatever, flood or whatever. They want their money. And I know you're in the district, and I know you also been in that area for over 35 years. People really cannot afford what the rent is, period. We're talking about $15 an hour that's supposed to be implemented, and it still hasn't been implemented. And people cannot afford to live, period, in New York City. So there's a lot of changes that needs to be made. It's not just in one particular area, but it's the whole ball game.
You're right.
And
that's why, Alvin, you have a big job to do. I'm calling on you to assist me with this business.
What about Glenn?
Glenn is the mayor. The mayor will always be there, you and the mayor. He's Soften Bid. You are TMI, and I think I'm missing Phil Andrews.
Yep.
Oh
Have you heard
yeah.
of that name? Okay, so I'm gonna
Great
call
PR.
upon you guys,
Great PR. Absolutely.
yeah, to help me have something to put together to make to redress some of the issues,
Yes.
especially in respect to business within the district that I plan to represent. Because we have a lot of problem. It's a heavily immigrant community. We have folks that don't understand English. We have those that belong to the DACA, uh, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and so on and so forth. So, but I believe if resources are offered and provided, that we'll be able to address some of the needs and go back to build our community better. And thank God we are in a new dispensation. The old regime is no longer here. Trumpism is over. So now we have Bidism. So we hope that things can get better and we build back our communities and the city and, of course, our queens, and help the seniors to live a better life, enjoy their life, and we can, things will get better. We have to hold on to hope,
Yes.
and our dream. And so my vision is to provide uh, representation to the community that I love. I came to this country at a very young age. I was 21 when I came here. Now I'm 60 something. So that tells you
Yeah.
my kids are grown. I have, hello, I
Yeah,
have
we're here.
32 years old and 21 years old. And I mean, the American dream is still within all our reach. So we have to hold on to hope. The only challenge we have is this pandemic, but I know that very soon things will normalize and then everyone will go back to living their life safely. And I pray for health and we have opportunity to be bigger than we are now. All
Well,
right.
I
So
thank you, George and Nora. I thank you very much for coming on our Power Show. Our time is about up. And thank you, Alvin Hartley, for being my co host. Thank you, Glenn. You look kind of confused up there, but you are the mayor of Southern Boulevard.
no,
So snap,
So
snap,
look,
snap.
Glenn definitely got the ball look going on now. So there you go.
Uh,
Well, I like to thank George for coming out. I know that you're committed to the community, and you'd be an advocate for the people that you represent. So we're wishing you well and good luck in the race. And we know
thank,
that with you in there, we can count on change.
thank
yes.
you, Glenn. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'd like to say you've been listening to Our World, Our Power. You can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, and TuneIn. And don't forget to follow us on social media, our YouTube channel, Our World, as well as Instagram. Thank you all for listening to another show and catch you all next week. Thank you.